sorry, and how was it compared to peers? I think that it was a mix. There were those who got promoted at the same time as me, and there were those who, I mean, I remember this girl, I want to tell you her name. She and I started off at the same time and were even sent to Chicago together. But by the time it came for me to almost be eligible for manager, she was still not yet promoted from analyst to consultant. So there are those kind of cases as well. She left after that. Why was that a question? Interesting. You're in Accenture, I assume. Huh? Yes, right. Yes.
Looking back, do you think that you left Accenture too early or too late?
Okay. So I think so I don't, just to be clear, I don't regret my years in Accenture. I stayed there for 8 years. I should probably have left after 5 or 6 years. Yes, Firdaus. You can also ask me any questions.
Yes. Do you think there's space for another ethos to be around as a competition?
Absolutely. Because I think that the market for consulting in Malaysia, I mean, why I say this is because I met up with one of the partners in McKinsey recently, and we both feel that the demand is strong, and where McKinsey is sitting, if only they could drop their fees, there will be a huge market to be captured. So, yeah. So in Ethos, recently, there have been a lot of clients that actually want us to start work immediately, and I say, I'm very sorry. The earliest that I can have a team free is May. So if your project, you're okay that you can start in May, okay, or August. Otherwise, we just don't have capacity. So hence we are recruiting pretty aggressively. All right. Yes.
Hi, Natasha. Thank you for sharing the very, I would say, useful comments about how to survive as women in the workplace. My name is Siti Kamaria. I'm a manager at PricewaterhouseCoopers. What I want to ask you is probably not something that people usually ask, but from your experience with working with women, people have names for them like lady boss or that garang boss and all.
Yeah.
So how do you actually survive working with another lady boss? Because sometimes they can be perceived emotional and all those names that people call. So how do you manage all those things? How do you survive?
Okay.
Thanks.
I actually have a personal experience to relate. I can completely relate to that. So I will not name names because I realize in this crowd there are people who still work in Accenture, who work in Accenture. I can't even name the project because if I name the project, you'll be able to find out. Okay.
Which industry?
Once upon a time in my career, I ended up on this project, which was a very stressful project because Accenture sold it at very low fees, hoping to, it was a study. Accenture normally doesn't do studies, it does implementation work, but they were hoping to get significant implementation work after that. So they decided to do a study on the cheap in the hope of getting, hundreds of millions in the implementation work. So this study was staffed by partners and managers, and there was me and I was an analyst. So when I turned up, I thought all I had to do was photocopying ke, research ke apa ke lah. Then, I was put under this lady boss, as mentioned, and she was a nightmare. Like, she would call people stupid, she would yell at people, she wouldn't let me go home, and whereas all the other managers essentially did the work themselves, she got me to essentially do all her work. I mean, the work that was supposed to be hers. And, I was an analyst. That was only my second, maybe third project. The industry wasn't familiar to me. I barely knew SAP. And, it was very, very difficult because there was so much that I had to learn at the same time. And she was, every time I would ask her a question, she would turn it back at me and say, why are you so stupid that you don't know this yourself? So it was a very non-constructive relationship. I remember one time that because I was, the joke was that we would go into the client, you're going to know it's a manufacturing client, we would go to the client before the morning shift started, and there was a song being sang, and then the second song for the night shift would start and we would still be there. Sometimes we would go home together with the people from the night shift. So there was one time where I thought I just want to go home early because I want to have dinner with my husband. And I actually put my handbag in my prayer clothes bag and went to the surau and never came, didn't go back to the project room after that and just left my PC and whatever on. And she didn't realize until much later and asked her, hey, where's Nat gone? I said, Nat went home. She said, how can she have gone home? I thought she just went out to pray. So we had to actually resort to things like that, to actually go home and have dinner with loved ones. So I'm quite open about this. So, you would have guessed, from the fact that I got pregnant immediately and my first kid is only 13 years old, that obviously the first baby was a miscarriage, right? So it actually happened during that project. I woke up one day in a pool of blood, essentially. Possibly because of the stress and whatnot. How did I manage her? I was very young. I don't think I did a good job. I probably did the wrong thing, which is I actually took all the burden. What I should have done on hindsight is probably to speak to one of the partners that I trusted, that had worked with me before and would know that I wasn't lying, and probably should have said that, look, I don't think that what's happening here is fair to me or fair to the client. It's certainly not fair to the client, and we're potentially compromising the quality, of our services here. But I don't know. I was young. There was no one to advise me. I didn't think of doing that. So I actually did. Or tried to do. Sorry, this. Don't mean to cry. I always tell Elisa that she could have had a sister, but anyway. I actually tried to do what I was being asked to do without realizing that it was not actually analyst level work. It was the other people doing it were managers and partners. But, there's always a silver lining because I got noticed and one of the other partners actually said, of all the write-ups, the one done by Natasha is actually the best, and I'm actually making her coordinator and overall in charge of the final report. So all of you now report to her, and I'm going to allow her to dictate, the structure, the timelines, whatever. So I had, I got to boss all these managers around me, and as a result of the project, obviously I secured my promotion, but I had a high cost. Sorry to break down.
Thank you, Natasha.
So, to answer your question, the right thing to do is to tell someone who has the power to change things and who will probably have faith in you that you are telling the truth. In my career in Accenture, Singaporeans always do this to Malaysian Accenturans. Singapore office in Accenture had a tendency to sell cheap projects, import a lot of Malaysians, and work them like slaves, because if these people resign, it's not their KPI, right? And there were a lot of people that I had mentored that ended up on some of these projects and wrote to me and said how miserable their life was and whatnot. And because these people had credibility with me, I actually did what I could to pull back the ones that I could. Yeah, so talk to someone who will believe you.
The reason why I asked is because I just recently got married myself. I'm a young manager, under 30. And what I asked you is a very real problem, and a lot of women actually resign. That's actually a turning point for a lot of women to actually say, hey, do I want to continue as a professional, pursue my career, or do I just want to give up? And we've had these carriages at work. People, young people who got married. It's a very, very real problem that's probably not being looked into. And most people just brush it aside. Hey, just deal with it. You choose to work. But it's a very specific problem that women face. And I'm really glad that you actually shared a very real life experience. And I'm sure a lot of women in this room can empathize with you. Thank you.
you have to have faith that things will get better. And you have to, I suppose, one thing that I've not shared, is probably worth sharing. One of the disciplines I have now, and I tell my managers this, you must have the discipline to reflect. Because often you're so deep in the trenches and so focused on trying to complete deliverables and getting work done, that you actually don't sit down and reflect on, hey, am I just going around in circles, or am I actually focusing on the things that are really important? And in that moment of reflection, you have to ask yourself, where is this going? Do I have faith that things are going to get better? Do I stay, or do I find some other options? There are actually, because I've being someone that has actually done a lot of fact gathering, there are actually many options out there that will enable you to have flexibility. So yeah, you don't have to drop out altogether. You certainly don't have to let your career plateau. You essentially find options where you will have that flexibility. And often, flexibility is not so much, I think, about, I have found that flexibility is not so much about the type of company that you work for. So, yes, there are certain companies that, make it a point to have policies that encourage women to work. But yeah, that doesn't mean that, if you work for GLC or if you work in, McKinsey or whatever, that you can't make it work for you. And I have found that when you have proven to people that your ability to deliver, that you can be trusted to deliver, people will kind of let you be and trust you. And them trusting you is what provides you flexibility. So even when Accenture, I can say this because I've left, but even in Accenture, I manage my own time because I know that at no point will I ever compromise the firm or the quality of its deliverables. So around that, I manage my own time now. When I didn't have a boss that tracked that I was on my desk, the rest of the time I manage my own time now. But it's about building that credibility with the people around you. Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Rachel.
Hi,
and
Rachel.
I think I speak on behalf of all the still single ladies in this room.
Yes.
I have to ask, how did you get your husband to propose?
It's very interesting because last Friday night I had dinner with this guy who wanted me, who was considering joining the firm. He wanted me to meet his wife, and after talking to her, I realized that he never proposed to her. She married him without him ever proposing to her. So how did I get my husband to propose to me? Actually, you want to know the truth, is it? Okay. But the truth is so interesting. I'm trying to manufacture an interesting answer because the truth is so not interesting. Okay, the truth is like this. I firmly believe this is the truth. So I have to rewind a bit. In my third year, I think at some point I told my mom, I'm not interested in getting married, I'm not interested in kids, because what if I have kids and the kids turn out all wrong, or that would be terrible, I ruined somebody's life, so I don't want to go there. And my mom was seriously concerned about me. And what more she learned that somebody had actually proposed to me and I had said no and whatnot, and she thought this was perfectly good male specimen, so why did I say no? She was like really concerned about me. So in that year, she and my dad went to perform their Hajj. So when they perform the Hajj, you know that in the Muslim faith that, on Hari Arafat, in Padang Arafat, whatever you pray for with wholehearted sincerity, God will grant you. That's what the Muslims believe. So my dad prayed for me to get a first-class honors. My mom prayed very specifically that I would find a good husband, who would provide